Whenever I hear lifters saying that you can't build big shoulders from calisthenics, I know for an absolute fact that they have zero experience with deficit handstand push-ups. Because if they did, they'd realize just how weak and misguided they actually are. So in today's video, I'll be explaining the full benefits of this time-proven movement and how to do it in the best way for strength and hypertrophy. So first things first, I highly recommend you do the wall-supported version. Stop with the freestanding handstand push-up because you are limited by your own internal bracing and stability. There is a tremendous coordination component that can take months to develop for you to even get a sufficient stimulus. In other words, the movement pattern is so complex that the motor unit recruitment of the primary movers isn't as high as it could be. And even when you get it down right, it's a fact for 100% of every mother, including the calisthenics athletes, that they won't be able to match their wall-supported numbers. And what does that indicate? You're sabotaging your own hypertrophy potential. So if you're only trying to get buff, I recommend a brute force technique. And even fitness FAQs would agree with me. An OG in the space admitted this in our interview. Would you recommend them doing the free handstand push-up where you're balancing, or the wall version?
Of course the answer's B, man. The wall is your go-to, because with the wall you can push to very high RPEs and you're not going to be limited by the balance component. You can even do some myo reps.
Though I think he would still tell you to train the freestanding version because he is a calisthenics athlete. But for you guys, or the average person, dummy press your body weight. And the best way to do it, in my opinion, is with your belly facing the wall when you're in the handstand position. So when you're standing up, your back will be facing the wall, but when you flip over, it's the opposite. Why do I prefer this over the other way around, which is typically advised? One simple reason. There's even less technique required. When you do it the other way, you have to first forward kick yourself into position, which is already a task in itself and quite honestly disqualifies many of you. Then there's the balance not being the same. You have to maintain somewhat of a hollow body even when your foot is against the wall. And the thing is, as you fatigue during the set, there will be a natural tendency to arch your back, which you can't do, otherwise you will fall backwards, or in general, have to stabilize more. So the higher specificity towards non-supported handstands is also the greatest downfall for hypertrophy. Whereas my form is 100% dummy proof. You don't have to think about anything. It's all brute force, maximally strained. If you want to arch, no problem. Your foot will land directly on that wall and it's going to start gliding up and down. So you'll go from vertical to being at a slight angle. This range right here is excellent. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Heck, you can even self-spot by slowly climbing your feet to get that final rep in. This is where you can have ultimate grinders. It's basically mechanical drop set. You can hit true muscular failure without limitations. So the fact that you're not locked into one body angle is a huge plus. And just think about what you do with decline push-ups and even pike push-ups. It's always belly facing the bench, so why do the reversal when it's a handstand? You don't have to. So this is the most stable form by far. Now, next component to making this really good for muscle growth is using the deficit. You have to do this. Otherwise, handstand push-ups are kind of a waste of time, unless using it as a progression in the sense that you're too weak to do full range of motion right now. But if you are capable of getting a deep repetition, then elevate yourself with some plyometric boxes or parallettes. You want to do the same thing as your overhead pressing done with barbells or dumbbells. Why is it any different with calisthenics? You'll have guys that can rep out these little quarter reps and like, oh, my shoulders aren't growing. Well, because you're not lengthening them to any meaningful degree. So humble your ass and get on the deficit. And what you will find is that they are brutally difficult. In fact, 90% of you cannot do 3 sets of 15. And how do I know this? Because I can't do it. And I'm an elite overhead presser. And I have a lot of experience with calisthenics. Been doing it for years. With the deficit handstands being more prominent since 2020. But still, you can't underestimate your own body weight when you're doing this exercise properly. The only people who aren't going to get gains are those super lightweight motherfuckers. If you're like 130 pounds, really skinny and lanky, and you're just good at calisthenics, yeah, that explains it. But if you bulk up and you have any decent muscle mass on you, then it's gonna be hard. And if you're in a bulked up state, even better. Like anyone who can do deficit handstand push-ups for reps at 185 to 200 is a strong dude. I don't care what anybody says. And let me tell you, that will translate in a weight training context. Consider this a specialty barbell. And I like to do these after lifting. This way I get even more out of less weight. But you can still do these fresh and you'll find that they're insanely difficult. So most of you will be fine with body weight. But if you happen to be that extreme outlier who's just an ultimate beast at calisthenics, you mog everybody, then guess what? You still won't need a tremendous amount of load. A simple weighted vest that you can buy off Amazon will get the job done. 25 to 45 pounds tops, man, I never see people going beyond that. So no matter what you currently weigh, there's always a way to intensify this movement. And I didn't even talk about pause reps in the bottom. So for all you who are like, oh, I'm too heavy, I'm bear mode, you should be embracing that. And for you lighter guys, wear that vest or gain some weight, you're gonna be just fine. By the way, deficit handstand push-ups are practically free. All you need is a wall and some chairs. So if you're on vacation, you can actually continue to make gains. Or if you're at the gym, maybe the equipment is taken up, you need something that's a quick banger, do these. Or you don't want to train at the gym, lift at home, do a shoulder day. Maybe you have some light dumbbells, do some lateral raises with. Perfect. Hit some handstand push-ups as well, and you're gonna be all good. So you can save a lot of time and not invest in other pieces of equipment just by using yourself and some basic little things you can find around the house. Finally, it should be noted that handstand push-ups are nothing new. They've been around forever and were very popular in the bronze and silver era of bodybuilding, where real natural lifting was still a thing. So all the old school greats like Eugene Sandow, Bobby Pandour, John Grimmick, Paul Anderson, Doug Hepburn, they all loved handstand push-ups and used it to build bigger shoulders and raise their overhead press. And let me tell you, some of the elites back then were in the 160s overhead pressing well over 2 plates. So considering handstand push-ups were a staple, I think there's something to say regarding carryover. Heck, even when we look at the modern calisthenics community, we have guys who have only done handstand push-ups and they can come in day one, hit a bodyweight overhead press, which is no easy feat. Imagine if they started focusing on the barbell movements and really got their technique dialed in. In other words, if you're a beast at deep handstand push-ups, I wouldn't be surprised if you're really strong at pressing weights over your head. Resistance is resistance. Heck, Doug Hepburn used to jump off platforms, land directly on his hands, then proceed to do handstand push-ups. That's insane, considering he was such a large man. So I don't want to hear any excuses about body weight. We can all do well if we choose to focus on this time-tested movement. With that said, I got nothing more to say. Hope you enjoyed this video on deficit handstand push-ups. Try them out. Let me know how you like them. And I will talk to you all next time.